seconds of silence, then go ahead and start.
Alrighty. Hello, welcome to Book Club Schmuck Club. I'm Kristen.
I'm William.
And we're here to talk to you about the book, The Devil. Is it The Devil in the White City or Devil in the White City? I know I said it was the, and now I don't feel as
you're
confident.
leading me astray. I think it's The Devil in the White City.
I think you are probably right.
I can confirm this for The Devil in the White City.
Okay,
confirmed.
Well, we're going to be talking about The Devil in the White City by Erik Larson.
That's right. This is both an audio show and a video show, so we're up on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube, whatever you want to do.
So stay excited.
Yes. This is the first time that we were doing a nonfiction book.
Yeah.
On the show.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of...
landmark moment.
Yeah, well, no.
It's huge.
But it's like, I don't know, it's different from what we've usually done.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're going to be like, I wonder where this is going. Because it's like a real story that's out there. I
kind of am like, I wonder where this is going. I can't really remember what happens.
Do you not know much about HH Holmes?
Oh, I know
Serial
some
killer?
stuff about HH Holmes, but I don't remember like how he got caught.
Yeah, neither do I.
I'm curious to learn more about his memoirs that he wrote.
Yeah.
I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
But like I've read this book before. I just didn't really remember it.
Yeah.
And I knew obviously about his crazy murder castle and stuff like that.
Yeah,
What
pretty
about
much
you?
pretty much the only
His
thing that
mustaches I was aware of.
I saw his mustaches
Quite.
and his bowler hat. He looked
Yes.
like Marty McFly's great-great-grandpa a little bit. Right?
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the style of the day.
Yeah. He looked great.
Well,
Did you remember what his real name
1885,
was?
It's around the right time.
Wait, is 1885 the year that this happened?
Well, 1885 is the year that Back to the Future
Yeah, I
Part
know.
3
That's
takes
why
place.
I was like, is that when the World's Fair occurred?
I
don't think so.
It was somewhere around there.
I think it was in the early 1900s.
HH Holmes.
I would imagine.
Looking it up right now. I'm
His
not going
real
to
name
fool
was
around.
Herman Mudgett.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's right.
that had something to do with.
Died 1896, so he was indeed alive in 1885.
Okay, let's.
But
find
Hill
out when
Valley
the
was in
World's-
California.
Yeah, find out when the World's Fair was,
Okay.
because that'll lead us in the right
Was
direction.
The World's Fair. Yeah. Now.
Whoops.
what?
First World's Fair.
First.
I'm also surprised that there are multiple World's Fairs
18
and it's no big.
The
51.
fuck? There must have been several things called the World's Fair. This is dog do. I'm not getting what I want.
How do you know it's not? Oh, in London.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
right,
the short
well-
answer is we don't know and we'll never know. It'll
There's
be
no-
impossible to find out.
Yeah, there's no way of knowing.
Nope.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, so what did you know about H.H. Holmes?
I knew about his murder
Nay,
castle.
Herman Mudgett. I love saying nay.
I knew pretty much exclusively about his murder castle.
Okay.
I thought it was in Louisiana.
Really?
Yeah. So this is weird. H.H. Holmes is one of those serial killers that I know he's super famous and stuff, but he just never really hit my radar.
Yeah.
Like all the serial killers that I've been interested in.
Doesn't do it for you?
Not until now because I
Yeah.
didn't bother learning anything about him.
Yeah.
But like I've read a bunch of like true crime books, but they all are pretty much about serial killers that have existed in the 20th century.
Yeah.
Or
They skipped
later.
over Herman Mudgett.
They skipped over, no Herman Mudgett for me.
I wonder if calling him, like, even us referring to him as Herman Mudgett is like how Voldemort gets really annoyed if you call him Tom Riddle.
Or how Donald
like-
Trump is now being called
Yeah, can you take this opportunity? Drumpf. Can you take this opportunity to explain to me what that is briefly?
Yeah, so John Oliver
Yeah.
from Last Week Tonight did
Yeah.
his expose on Donald Trump. Donald
Uh-huh.
Trump, one of the things
Donald
that John
Trump
Oliver...
is one of the presidential candidaats.
he is the leading presidential candidate. He is
This is dog
he is
duty.
polling ahead of Hillary Clinton. If he is
Really, this stuff is really starting to freak me out.
if
I'm
he
not
is
kidding.
selected as the Republican candidate,
Yeah.
polls are suggesting that he would beat Hillary.
It's starting to freak me out.
So if he becomes the Republican candidate, he will probably become president.
See, I used to think if he becomes the Republican candidate, then it meant a win for the Democrats.
Right.
Like earlier on, a couple months ago, I was like, I hope he gets the nomination because who the fuck would, like, how could the majority vote for him? It would be fine.
Yeah.
That would just guarantee a Democratic president. And now I don't feel that way.
Not so much.
I had my first person in person say something pro Donald Trump to me this week.
Really?
It wasn't even.
What was it?
It wasn't even like huge.
No.
And frankly, if this is true, it's something that I do agree with in the Trump universe. So, but I was like, oh, I want to steer away from this convo because it just could go wherever.
Yeah.
It was a client of mine who I really don't remember how it came up, but We were talking about, I don't know why, we were talking about corrupt pharmaceutical companies. Like, we were talking about, like, Martin Shkreli or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she was like, well, I just saw Trump say that when he becomes president, the first thing that he'll go after are the pharmaceutical companies. And I was like, yeah. If I was a cartoon, I'd just start sweating.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to get into that.
But at the same rate, like, this is a client and you have to keep them happy and shit.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I probably wouldn't want to get into even just my personal life. I don't feel like talking about all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it. I
don't either. And I'm also like,
I'm not like a
depends on the
politically
story,
minded
but yeah,
individual.
I'm a little conflict averse just anyway. It's
Yeah.
not like my favorite thing to have happen. Plus, I feel like I don't know enough. But yeah, especially in a work situation, I was not looking to go down that road. So
Don't need it. Who needs it?
just steered away.
Well, we'll.
Anyway, sorry.
By the time this show will come out for the masses, they'll already know probably, right?
Wait.
Today's Super Tuesday. I don't know how.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean.
I don't know how fast they'll elect a nominee, but they'll know whether or not he at least won the day, which it looks like he.
No, they'll
is
know if he
going
won
to.
the day, but we won't know who the nominees are yet.
I don't
will
think
we?
so. I don't think so.
Because we haven't done this yet in New Jersey.
No, that's not even how it works.
What the fuck? You know what? Let's not even talk about it. 'cause I'm embarrassing
Okay.
myself.
Yeah. So anyway,
Wait.
the Donald Trump thing. I'll tell you that
Wait.
though. What?
I don't understand anything.
What?
I thought that all the
You started
states.
shaking your head like you just went blank, totally blank.
I thought all the states, we all vote for the primaries.
I don't think we all. I don't think so.
Fuck.
I don't think we all have a caucus.
God damn it.
No. Plus, you have to be like. I think you
know
also
what?
have to be registered with a
stupid.
party. Like, I'm not a registered Democrat, so I wouldn't be
I
able
am.
to vote. I don't think.
I guess what I thought was that we all vote on that stuff, but it just gets reported the most widely for like the most important states or biggest states or whatever. So
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't
think so.
I don't know these things. Allie and I were talking about doing a politics podcast because
boy.
she knows a lot about it. I don't
Yeah.
know anything about it, and it would be like,
yeah.
we'd have the full story
odd
then.
couple.
I'm the fucking anchor
Oh,
dragging her
Klugman.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be the Klugman.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. So Donald Trump. John Oliver was talking about how Donald Trump had attacked Jon Stewart in the past and been like, Jon Stewart's real name is John Leibowitz. I don't know why you would change his name. That's weak. That's a sign of weakness. I don't know why you wouldn't be proud of your heritage.
This guy is such an asshole.
So John Oliver is talking about all of Donald Trump's policies and like how they're fucking frightening, how the man is frightening, and then his like coup de grace at the end. He's talking about basically how Donald Trump has turned his name into a brand.
Yeah.
And when you talk about your net worth, he's talking about how much the word Trump is worth. Because you can just slap it on stuff. And now
Right.
you have Trump steaks and you have Trump whatever. And
Like
they
broken
do
down casinos.
and they do well until they crash and go
Yeah.
away. And so he was saying that he had researchers dig through Trump's past, found out that one of his ancestors, his name was Drumpf, not Trump. And that's a way less sexy name, way
Totally.
less cool name.
Drumpf.
And he said, well, why wouldn't you respect your heritage, Trump?
That's awesome.
Make, what was it? Like, you know how Donald Trump has the hat that's like, make America great or whatever the fuck?
I've never seen him in a hat, but I know that that's his platform.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Bring back, fuck, what is it?
Make
Anyway,
America Great Again.
Is it Make America Great Again?
Yes.
It's Make Donald Trump Again is the new hat that John Oliver is selling. It's a real hat.
Yeah.
He released a Chrome extension that you can install it on your web browser, and
To
anytime
change-
the word Trump appears in an article, it'll switch it to Drumpf.
That's awesome. That's like when Jim changed Dwight's computer so that every time he typed in his name, it said diapers.
Yes, it is. And then he stood in front of a giant series of like marquee letters that spelled Drumpf, and they're shooting sparkles all
That's
over the room.
awesome.
And he like slammed the mic on. He like dropped the mic and shit was staring in the camera. Like it seems like John Oliver he seemed pissed that Trump has gotten this far.
It's insane.
It's pretty crazy.
I never in my wildest
Sometimes-
nightmares, I guess, thought it would come this far.
Sometimes a charismatic person is able to just use their like loud mouth and their
Yeah.
personality to get too far.
Yeah.
Kind of like kind of like our pal HH Mudgett or whatever. What's his name? Henry Mudgett. What is it?
Shit, what is it? Now you're messing me up. It's
Harry?
HH Holmes. Herman
Mudgett.
Mudgett.
Who used
That is true. His charisma.
Yeah, used his charisma, used his silver tongue to
His
get away with
charisma,
quite a bit.
His charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent.
Is that what they said?
No, that is what they judge based on Drag Race, RuPaul's Drag Race, which spells out cunt. It's amazing. I didn't notice it for years, and then somebody pointed out to me, and I was like,
"That's funny."
That was my drumpf.
Yeah, intentional or no? Gotta be, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's funny. Do you have do you do what, like a plot summary
Yes,
of
I did.
of a nonfiction book?
Yeah.
There is a plot. There is.
Yeah.
They are telling it as a story. So yeah.
Yeah. Let me just pull it up here. Okay. All right. The summary of The Devil in the White City by Kristen Rogers Anderson by Erik Larson, or vice versa. Okay. A story of 50% murder and mayhem and 50% the visual appeal of boats in trouble with permits, The Devil in the White City is captivating me half the time and boring the knickers off of me the other half.
Yep.
Guess which is which? HH Holmes is a bad mamma jamma, a smooth mustachioed madman, the devil in a bowler hat. He moves into Chicago and murders his way into owning a pharmacy by working the front desk for the elderly owner and then killing her but telling everyone that she sold the business to him. Through a series of mover and shaker steals and deals, he winds up selling the pharmacy to some poor lummox and developing a massive block-long building across the street, the first floor of which he turns into another pharmacy burn and shops. Oh, and also he constructs the rest of it into a murder castle with mini crematoriums, gas chamber rooms, medical operating rooms. Oh, P.S. This dude isn't a licensed pharmacist or doctor, and fucking greased chutes going to the basement. And we ain't talking laundry here. His pattern is meeting women and duping them into falling in love with him, married or not, no problem, taking out life insurance policies on them, and then killing them in whatever manner of ways strikes his fancy. Heck, he's got facilities for anything he feels like doing to them. Then he explains it away as them having gone to visit family and staying or some shit. It's fucked up and fascinating, both that he did it at all and also that he got away with it for so long. Oh, also there are a bunch of people working on the World's Fair. Which architect will design a structure to go there, and how tall should it be? This part of the book only interests me here and there in an sort of way. Where we leave off, Holmes has killed yet another poor smitten gal. Who will be the next to have his murderous blue gaze fixed on them?
Who indeed? So, yeah. We are 50% of the way through the book, but only 25% of the book so far
is
H.H. Holmes.
Totally.
The other half is just about the politics of putting together the World's Fair.
Floral arrangements.
Woof.
I noticed when I was getting it, because I'm listening to the audiobook, there's an abridged version of it that is like less than half of the length.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And I on purpose got the long one because I was like, we're
going to do it right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that the other one is better. It's 6 hours long instead of 15.
Okay.
And it's narrated by the guy who plays Fitz in Scandal or the bad guy in Ghost. Same thing. Tony Goldwyn.
Oh, he was dragged to hell. Well, at the end of Ghost.
Yeah, yes.
That wasn't telling a fact about the man in real life.
Well, you could say he's on the fast track to hell in
What's
Scandal,
his name?
Will. Tony Goldwyn.
Tony Goldwyn. Ah, yes. He was dragged to hell last week.
He was dragged to hell.
He had both his soul and his body ripped into the gates of hell.
Well, he does some pretty morally ambiguous things in Scandal, so
fair enough.
It remains to be seen.
I don't like that guy's face. At least I didn't in the movie
not.
Ghost. I don't know what he looks like.
It's gotten a little bit
Maybe
weird.
He's got a great face.
His eyebrows are a little bit paler than they were in Ghost, I've noticed in Scandal, and I found it jarring at first, but I've gotten used to it.
Well, it's been about 30 years.
Yes, completely. And he and Kerry Washington have off the charts chemistry.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So that's good. I'll get to Devil in the White City in a second. I watched Scandal starting like a season or two after it began.
Yeah.
And I started watching because there was a Pandora commercial for it where I misinterpreted it because it was him going, "You will marry me and you will move into the White House." And I was like, oh my God, is the president like blackmailing a woman into like marrying him? The president's evil. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then I watched the show and I was like, oh, it's consensual. Oh, they're having an affair. That's good.
Yeah, I think you told me about that. That's such a funny, like, that would be such a soap opera thing. Like,
It so hooked
you
me
will
in.
be my bride.
Yeah,
and like
and
it or
I'm the
not,
president?
you will live in the lap of luxury.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, this show's fucking crazy.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah, probably the abridged version is all the
I would think, and like
just the. What if it's just the story of the
sprinkling.
World's Fair? Cut out all that controversial death and mayhem. I want to hear more about Ferris wheels and how they're built.
God, that part
And-
is so boring to me.
Holy shit, it's fucking boring.
Now, I think I mentioned it on the last podcast. Like I said earlier today, I've read this before. I mentioned on the last one, I skipped all of the
Really?
chapters about the World's Fair. I think I tried to hang it first, and then I was like, this means nothing to me. And I don't think I had any sort of hard time, because they really don't, they overlap somewhat later because he goes to the World's Fair or whatever, 'cause it's like right there. But I mean, you can still just read his chapters and be fine.
Like, I would assume that. So here, this is me doing it kind of a favor and just trying to figure out why the book is like this.
Well, for some people, I guess that stuff would be really interesting.
Yeah, some of it is like.
I was thinking about Michael Palmer, and when I was saying the thing about architecture in the summary, and I wrote
Interesting.
that it was boring, I was like, oh, sorry, Michael.
Well, no,
But
it's
I mean, he would be
boring.
really bored if like he had to, learn about hair color shit or something.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. It's all about like what your personal interests are. You can't say that something is objectively boring. So yeah, Michael might get something out of like hearing the fact that, and this some of it did interest me, where it was like skyscrapers first started being built in Chicago, and I was like, all right, whatever, what the fuck ever. And then there was some drop line about like, obviously, like this is because they invented the elevator. Like they wouldn't have done this if elevators didn't exist, because nobody's gonna climb fucking 80 floors. And I was like, oh, I guess that I never would have thought of that. Yeah, no skyscrapers without elevators. Interesting. Cool. I kind of like it.
That's
and
kind
then
of
like
interesting.
one of the like builders had like the hubris of like, I will build it as long as the earth can support it.
Actually, it's funny you said that. That was one of the only actual architecture things that was kind of interesting to me. They were talking about, I think that they were talking about the Eiffel Tower and about how the guy basically like offered or requested to come to Chicago and build another tower there.
Right.
And they referred to the fact that it would go like, I have no idea, let's say 5,000 feet underground. I don't know what. But I was like, oh, yeah, for it to like be steady, it's lodged into the ground. I said never thought about it before, and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
It was kind of interesting. It's just
There were
not what I
things here
signed
and
up
there.
for. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
Well, it's not
this
what
is not why I'm doing
I knew
this.
it was in there, but it's certainly not the other stuff is much more interesting to me. I'm like, all right, let's get through it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
want to see what HH Holmes did to his friends that he's been riding bikes with.
But there was some cool stuff to be had. But anyway, what I'm saying is like, I feel like some of it is because people enjoy reading about another era and how things were done and how the world was, and that's kind of interesting. The other thing that I'm wondering is, am I wrong, but was the World's Fair sort of like in concept supposed to be like, look at all the advancements that we've made. Like, look at what society is evolving into and look what's possible.
Well, it was a little bit of a pissing contest between other countries and the United States, and also Chicago and other cities.
Okay.
Because they even talk about it in the book, like, they were thinking about having it, like, Chicago had to kind of like compete to get to host the World's Fair. Like, New York was going to have it, and it looked like they might do it or whatever. So, yeah, it is kind of showing off like how advanced we are. So that's part of why they turned down like Albert Eiffel's offer or whatever, because they didn't want to have a non-American architect doing it, because they're supposed to be kind of like showing how accomplished they can be.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Also, Albert Eiffel is the name of the person who made the Eiffel Tower.
It's definitely Eiffel. I don't know what his first name is.
Never fucking occurred to me.
Me neither.
And then
That
they
was
start
another thing I was
talking
like,
about a guy that wanted to build a Ferris wheel, and they're like, yes, that's right. Rudolfo Ferris had an idea for a big wheel. And I was like, wow, yeah, of course that's why it's called a Ferris wheel.
I know.
Like, I never attributed these things to a person's name.
Another one that they did that with, it was something about Thomas Edison, and they referred to like the Edison Electrical Company or something.
Yeah.
Which is probably Con Ed or whatever. And I was like,
whoa.
Yeah.
That's weird. Yeah, you're right. They also called Thomas Edison the Wizard of Edison.
The Wizard of Menlo
Menlo
Park.
Yeah, which is so fucking cool.
I know, it is awesome.
I was at Menlo Park the other day.
Will. Do you know there's an Edison museum?
Yeah.
Have you been to it before?
No.
I would like to go.
I would go.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
All right, cool.
But so I feel like maybe some of it being like the story of the World's Fair is because, well, one, obviously it was like 3 miles away from HH Holmes' murder castle.
Well,
he totally like benefited or
Yes.
capitalized on the fact
Yeah.
that he had easy prey nearby.
Well, he had easy prey, and also people were going missing left and right because they were like people were coming to Chicago and then getting into trouble or whatever. So you could argue like, oh yeah, like Mary went to the World's Fair and got swept up into.
Yes.
The hellishness of the city or whatever. Yeah.
But you could just say that. You could talk about how H.H. Holmes was picking from this like huge group of people because it was easy to explain why somebody would have gone missing from that bunch.
Yeah.
But the book is actually going into excruciating detail of where they were going to build the World's Fair and why and who was involved. And I'm thinking that the reason they did that as they are cataloging, as they're explaining H.H. Holmes's rise is that World's Fair was all about like how modern a society we are and people trying to push the limits of what can be done.
Yeah.
Be it a pissing contest with other nations or states or not. It's about ingenuity and being modern.
Yeah.
This is new and different. This couldn't have happened before.
Yeah.
And H.H. Holmes, I mean, that is taking
pretty new.
Pretty new.
Yeah.
It's taking like the
There's
ancient art
ingenuity.
of serial killing.
Yeah.
And like way modernizing it.
Yeah.
He's the World's Fair of fucking serial killers.
Pretty much.
Like he
That's exactly what the whole thing is.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's
Totally.
So I can appreciate that
also-
from a macro level. I can look at it and be like, yes, we're exploring ingenuity in our society, and well, this guy was exploring the ingenuity of the art of murder.
Right, but that is all I need of it.
That's all I need.
Just that acknowledgement.
Absolutely.
But
It doesn't have to be half the book.
I don't think though, like I get it. Like it's that part of it is just not for us or whatever. I don't think that the H.H. Holmes thing is necessarily like the whole thrust of the book. This is an author who's interested in the history and everything.
Right.
And I think just sees both of them together. If it was called like the story of H.H. Holmes and then it was going into
Right.
all the shit about the World's Fair, that'd be one thing. But I think that this is what he's interested in.
Then it should be called
Like he's
like Sex and the City. It should be The Devil and the White City. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
to me, it's the devil in the. Now he probably wasn't like, this title reflects exactly the structure of my book.
Yeah.
But the devil in the White City. When I hear that title, I think we're talking about the devil. We're talking about H.H. Holmes.
No, I agree actually. Yeah,
know?
I think so too. Like I know he's written other like historical books and stuff. So I think the history of it is kind of the main thing, and this happened to be a part of it. But
Right.
he obviously is very interested in the whole World's Fair. I think he writes about it very detailed and very lovingly.
Yeah, it's interesting enough. I tend to zone out a lot.
Yeah.
But
Well, I
occasionally I'll
started
check in and be like,
fast-forwarding.
that's kind of cool.
Well, not fast forward. I sped it up,
Me too.
so it's like chipmunk level when I listen
How
to the
fast is it?
2x.
2x? Can we get? Let's get here. Just briefly.
It's so boring to me.
So let me put it on 1x so that everybody can hear what it's supposed to sound like. I'll bring it back to where we ended the book.
Yep.
These they laid a grillage of steel, then filled it with cement. To keep the
All right, perfect. We had a little pause in there. Here's how I'm listening to it.
24 hours a day.
That's not quite right there.
Process for each of the 8 140-foot towers.
What is that,
would support
1.5?
Ferris wheels, giant
1.5.
I started at 1.5 and
So-
then I was like, I can't take it.
It's the difference between this and this. Here we go. We're talking about the story of H.H. Holmes. Here's what he did. Here's where he went. Here's what's happening.
2x is wild. I'm not gonna
Let's jump to
dispute
2x.
you at all. It's insane.
This is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Ferris's main worry was whether he could acquire enough steel to build his machine. He realized, however, that he had an advantage over anyone else trying to place a new order. Through his steel inspection company.
We're talking about
Not bad.
steel orders,
Okay.
William.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yes, we are talking about steel orders. Sure, speed it up. That's not as bad as I was thinking.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, let me crank it up to 3.
Oh god.
And the products they made. He was able to pull in favors and spread his orders among many
That
different
doesn't
companies.
sound that much
No
faster
one
than
shop could begin
2.
to do all the work. Therefore, contracts were let to a dozen different firms.
Are you
each
sure
being
you hit
chosen because
3?
of some peculiar
Oh, it's on 3.
Weird. That doesn't seem that much
It
faster.
might stay on 3. As a matter of
Yeah,
fact, that
yeah.
wasn't that bad. I was expecting it to just be like,
Well, when I first tried to do it, I was like, oh man, that's crazy. So I went back to 1.5, and then there was just something about like, I don't know.
the steel girders are
Yeah, yeah.
reinforced with titanium.
Exactly. And I was like, I can't do this. Let me give it a shot again.
Martin
and
thought to
it's-
himself, what a sweetie of a deal.
And I was like,
The
at
end.
first it was crazy. And then I was like, let me see if I can get used to this. And I got used to it. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I feel like I could get used to it.
Yeah.
For all I know, maybe listeners who haven't been listening to way sped up shit
Yeah.
heard that and they were like, that is insane. But
Yeah,
I'm conditioned on 1.5 now. I think I can handle 3
do
times.
you always listen on 1.5?
No, but I've been listening to this for
Okay.
sure.
When you said you could
Like
just
8
okay,
hours
yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So long.
Yeah.
Okay, so HH Holmes, the man himself.
Yes.
Boy, what a scary dude.
Yeah.
You're not scared of him?
I'm scared of him, but he's not like
William.
It's interesting because like so I know a little bit about H.H. Holmes, like his later life and stuff, and he eventually starts thinking of himself as the devil.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
So
he
that's
like
exciting.
later in his life he starts talking about how he's beginning to resemble the devil because the devil is inside him.
Yeah, I did. Okay, anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So he's a fucking monster. I mean,
Yeah.
people believe that he may have killed upwards of 200
Mm-hmm.
people. He claimed something like 30. Now that there's a big disparity between the two.
Yeah.
30 murders
That happens
is still
all the time.
fucking crazy.
That was like the what's his name? The Green River Killer, Gary Ridgway. Like
Yeah.
I think confessed to like 40 people, and they think it might be like 200 or something.
yeah, exactly. Like
Which always surprises me to a degree. Like, if you're gonna confess to 40,
Yeah.
like, do you think that that's so much better than 200?
Or-
like, why not
but the thing to me is always
cop
like
to it?
the thing that I'm surprised about. It's not like I don't think that he's thinking like I'll say 40 because they'll go lighter on me than if it were 200. I think that I would assume it would be the opposite because I would think that they would want to gloat. I think that they would want to be like,
I don't
I
know.
killed 200 people.
I don't think that happens that
I
often.
claimed this many fucking lives.
Yeah.
Like some serial killers, it depends on the type of like madman you're dealing with. Because like, who was it? Richard Ramirez, was he the Night Stalker? I feel like his personality, he would have been like, "Fuck you! I took out 200 of you."
Yeah.
And like be fucking crazy about
Yeah.
it. Whereas H.H. Holmes, I would think he seems to be so sociopathic or psychopathic, lack of morality and emotion that it was always just for him.
Yeah.
So he doesn't give a fuck
Yeah,
if you,
what you
if you
think
even
about
know
it,
the truth.
basically.
Yeah, and it might be even fun for him that he gets to hide something
Yeah,
from you.
That's true.
Because
yeah.
it seems like he was all about his personal experience about in life.
Oh yeah.
As a lot of serial killers, I guess,
Yeah.
are. It's about their own personal
Yeah.
thing. So, it'd be nice to have notoriety, but I think I'll have it anyway.
Yeah.
Plus, while I'm in captivity
Yeah.
and answering your questions about what I've done and who I am, I'm going to keep another secret from you.
Yeah,
To
and he
add
obviously-
150 to what I'm saying.
Yeah, he obviously gets off on lying and
Yeah.
feeling like he has one over on people. So it does make sense that it'd be like, you don't even know the half of it or whatever, and you
Exactly.
think that I'm so bad. Yeah, that makes sense.
Which, like, from an outsider's perspective, and treating this like we're just spectators here,
Mm-hmm.
and enjoying fucked up stories like this, you just want to know. Like, I just want to know the truth. We'll never know.
Yeah.
I just want to know, did H.H. Holmes kill more than 200 people? Because that's
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
Yes.
But, like, for him, he's just like, I don't even give a fuck. Like,
No, that was
it's been
just like,
it's been awesome for me.
yeah, it's another day at the office.
Yeah, really fucking crazy.
Man alive. Hey, another Voldemort thing. So, wait a second. Okay. Is H.H. Holmes Voldemort? Let me explain.
Oh, wow.
Okay. There was a kid who was killed who fell off of something when they were both kids together, when they were by themselves somewhere.
That was in Voldemort. You were thinking of the killer in The Cuckoo's Calling.
Well, wait. No. When Voldemort was Tom Riddle when he was a kid, he went to the caves with kids.
Yeah, but
oh,
kids
they
were
didn't
just hurt.
die.
Like, no one
Yeah,
died
that's
and no
right.
one
Okay.
fell.
Okay, you're
Yeah.
right. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I mean, H.H. Holmes might still be Voldemort, but
Okay.
anyway.
Sure.
But H.H. Holmes did that when he was a kid. He and some other kid went and did something, and that kid had some sort of freak accident and died.
Yes.
And now knowing at the time, they're just like, oh, how terrible. But now knowing what we know about him, it's like, was that his first, perhaps?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like he went through the same, like
Serial
childhood. Yeah, the same serial killer, like Piaget's steps.
Yeah.
Where like I
Well-
guess they talked about how he used to keep like a bunch of artifacts and shit or like collected stuff, and that they believe that he was also collecting like animal skulls from
Well-
animals that he popped the heads off of.
Yeah, that's kind of just speculation, actually, because he
really?
became such a bad serial killer. Like they think he probably did stuff like that, but it's not really confirmed. I did a little homework and I listened to, there's a podcast called Stuff You Missed in History Class.
Yeah.
And actually it was perfect because they have 2 episodes about HH Holmes. So I listened to the first one in correspondence with our first episode about it. And they talked about that and said exactly what I just said, that people don't really know that, but they think that that might be the case.
Okay.
And basically talked about his construction of the murder hotel and all that kind of stuff. And it was really interesting. So it's worth going and checking out. It's like...
Say it again. What is it called?
It's called Stuff You Missed in History Class. I'll put a link to it in the show notes.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, it's a little bit far back if you want to scroll, if you want to go search for it in whatever your podcast app is and then just look back for it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I would check that out.
It's really, really good. So yeah. So I'm trying to think. And then, yeah, like starting from then, he didn't kill anybody really necessarily in his teens and early 20s, but he started his whole insurance scammy kind of stuff.
Yeah, because he was like, he was a scam man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, making the scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, he basically like made his money both from actually making money because he was successful at some businesses because he was really charismatic and charming. He didn't graduate college. So he went for like, I think pharmacist stuff, but didn't actually graduate.
Okay.
He was not a doctor of any sort, even though he said he was or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, he would either have money either through
part of this, by the way, I feel like is a story of how dangerous it was living in a society where pretty much you could just say whatever you want.
You could say anything you want.
I could
There's
just
no
go like, yeah,
background
I'm a
check.
doctor.
Absolutely. Or be like, oh, you know what? I have credit.
Yeah, I have a shitload of
And
credit.
that's
How the
all.
fuck
Be
did
like, oh,
credit work?
I have no idea because it seems like he'd just be like, yeah, you know what? I'll pay you later for this.
Yeah.
So just sign it over to me now and then I'll just pay you later. And then he just never would.
Which like is
So
crazy
easy.
because he traveled all over the place a little bit, right? So if he was making his way to Chicago, and was he north?
I don't remember.
He was like a northerner, and then he made his way
remember.
down to Chicago. I think.
he was in Pennsylvania or something. I really don't remember.
I think at one point he was in Canada.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you're in Canada and you're just like, yeah, no, I have a lot of credit. Give me like 5 horses and a fucking carriage, and I'll pay you back, I guess.
That's what he kept
And then
he
you
just
move
kept being like,
away.
I'll pay you back.
Yeah, I'll pay you back. But then he went to Chicago and settled for a couple of decades.
Yeah.
And still kept saying that. Like, I would think you'd want to do it and move.
I know.
Like, you'd want to be like, yeah, no, I have a bunch of credit. I'm a good guy with a lot of money. Give me that.
But then he ended up
Bye-bye.
loving his
You'll
murder
never
house.
see me
so
again.
why would he move? You know, he had like this.
Yeah, but then why
perfect-
would he keep running that scam? He had money.
I have no
he,
idea.
He got
Yeah,
so
he ended up-
reliant.
yeah.
He got so reliant on the fact that he was able to talk himself out of stuff, I guess. Because he was.
And again, I think that was probably part of his thing and his like pathos and stuff that he liked doing that.
Yeah, I guess that's
you know,
true.
he liked the whole like deceptive aspect of it.
Right. Yeah. Let's talk about the murder house in
Okay.
like 2 seconds.
Okay.
I just want to take a quick break real
Okay.
fast to just talk about talkbomb.com.
Okay.
And a couple of new things that are going on. One, we just dropped Will and Bobby Know Everything, episode 200 this past Monday. There are now 200
Yep.
episodes of that.
Yes.
If you like
That is
that,
many.
you have a lot of it. So go
Yeah.
check out that show. And also, you may have noticed if you're listening to Book Club Schmo Club on iTunes or Stitcher or whatever, we're here with a brand new style.
You got that right.
So we've got a facelift. We've designed a new logo for everybody to look at. Just set it as the backdrop to your computer.
Yeah.
Print it out. Put it on your walls. Cover up your
Give it to your
windows with
office
printouts
mates.
of it. You don't need to see the outside anymore.
No, why?
That's fine.
It's gross out there.
Yeah. But if you enjoy the show, and specifically if you're enjoying listening to it right now, why don't you take a quick couple of minutes
Yes.
to review the show on iTunes or Stitcher? It makes a huge difference
It
in terms.
really does.
Yeah, and to prove that, I want to read to you guys real quick a new review that we got of the show.
And seriously, like I've gone back and looked at this like 3 times because it made me so happy and feel so good. And I know that also reviews are a big part of making the show more visible to new people. I guess
Yep.
it doesn't really show up as much if you don't have kind of like current activity on
Yeah.
the podcast. It gets kind of buried. So I would really appreciate, because I really like doing this and I want to keep doing it and do more of it. And getting out to more people keeps us motivated.
Yeah. So if you share the shows and if you review the show, it takes you 2 minutes, but it makes our day.
Yes.
And it increases the likelihood that people like you will find our show and enjoy it as well.
Exactly. And I know that there's, for some reason, on new episode days when shows come out, reviews mean more. It's more significant. So if you're listening to this when it comes out or whenever, but like particularly if you're listening on Friday, like just like real quick, just review, please. All right. Anyway, go ahead, William.
So this is a review by Scott McGran. It's called Perfection for Book Lovers.
So nice.
I love this podcast. They have read all the books I love most. I just found out about this podcast and wish I had found it sooner. The Harry Potter discussions are so amazing for anyone who craves discussing the series, but can't find anyone in real life who'll talk about it. Keep going. Don't stop. I have to stop during my runs just so I can laugh.
I like
love
that
you
part.
guys. 5 stars.
Yeah,
That's a 5-star
really,
review
really,
from a listener.
really nice.
And it made me really happy to find it and read it. And I would love it if you guys would keep it up.
Yeah, so really please, guys.
Additionally, here on Book Club Schmuck Club, we do a lot of bonus shows. Half the show goes out on the live feed that you get where we talk about books. But a whole other set of episodes go up on patreon.com/talkbomb, which is a donation site where you can give back to the Talkbomb network. It helps us keep the network running. I've had to replace a lot of equipment even in the past year. So it's really a huge help. But I've been doing a new thing recently where we'll do an episode on Patreon every other Thursday. And if I see somebody share Book Club Schmuck Club and tag us in the post, boom, you get that bonus episode for just free.
Yeah,
just
more
right
than
away.
happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It just means a lot to us when you guys share the show, both personally and professionally,
Yes,
because
it really
gets the
does.
show out there. Cool. Also, just a little tease. Look out for cool, awesome new stuff from Chrissy and I in the hopefully near future.
Yeah, we did a lot of texting today about things that we would like to do.
A lot of secret planning. But yeah, much ado about nothing. Let's get back to the show.
That's plenty of ado about something.
Whoa!
Okay, so the murder house.
Yes.
Oh boy.
All right.
What's your favorite part of it?
I don't know. I looked up floor plans. Do you want to see them?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I wasn't anticipating that really, but okay.
Of course. Why would you not think I'd want to see that?
HH Holmes murder castle floor plans, and I'll put them up here on YouTube as well if anybody wants to look at them along with us.
Yeah.
So the long and short of it, Chrissy,
Yes.
it's really, really difficult to figure out what I'm looking at.
Oh, yeah, that is tough.
So let me, I'll drag us up here so that we are looking down on it. Okay. So murder house. You can see here, and
Wow,
I'll
this is high tech and
bring
cool.
up the full image. So it looks like he put a skinny little corridor here in the middle of the house, and it looks like there are maybe some doors that open one way, but it's really fucking difficult to figure out what you're looking at.
Yeah.
To the point that it's honestly kind of worthless.
It's a little inscrutable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
I wish there was something that said oh wait, it kind of does. This one, the last one you're at, it looks like it says gas chamber, whatever.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Blind room.
Yeah, the hanging secret chamber.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So reception room, another secret chamber, dark room. One thing is called 5-door room, black closet, room of the 3 corpses, which eventually became, as we know, somewhat huge.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, wasn't the room of the 3 corpses literally a room that they found that he had been storing 1, 2, 3
I mean, that makes
corpses
sense.
in?
Yeah.
It looks like half the floor plan.
Mysterious closed room.
Yeah.
Dummy elevator for lowering bodies. Jesus Christ.
Frankly, I don't really understand how he opened this place as a hotel because it seems like
Yeah,
half
it seems
the
like there
floor
are only
plan.
2 rooms where a person could possibly stay.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it was a hotel/apartment building.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, there were 3 or 4
in
floors.
Dark closet.
There were only 3 floors.
Yeah.
How did he do
well,
this?
Expand a block though. That's pretty big.
I guess it's just it's like mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. But
don't know.
Secret chamber, dark room, dummy elevator for lowering bodies, mysterious closed room. This is how people are labeling these things because they don't even know what to call them. Secret room,
The black closet.
Sealed room, all bricked in. And you can tell, too, that, like, all right, if you've ever seen a floor plan, if you've ever gone, like, apartment hunting or anything like that, a floor plan, usually you see rooms that have all right angles.
Yeah.
Every room in my house has right angles.
Yeah.
Right now on YouTube, you can see there's a thing about midway down the page on the left-hand side, sealed room, all bricked in. It has a fucked up 45-degree angle.
Yeah, that's bizarre. I'm going to put this in the show notes, too.
Like, I do not understand. So one of the maze, look at the maze. It's the smallest thing in the world. Wow, I wonder how you get out of that maze.
Yeah.
It's not amazing. Take that to the bank.
That's not great.
No, that's worth a lot. That's worth a lot. So one of the things that they said that he did was when he had people constructing his castle,
Yeah.
he'd bring them in. They'd work a little bit. He'd fire them.
Yes.
Bring in someone else. They'd work a little bit.
So that nobody would ever know exactly what was going on. Because
Yeah.
if you had one person working on the gas chamber room, they'd be like, why do you need this?
Pretty sure this is a gas chamber.
So they would just have one person working on he would just have one person working on the valves for the gas chambers. And then another person to complete that. Just so nobody would know.
And even he got married and his wife.
Multiple times.
Well, yeah. But one of his wives was head over heels for him, loved him, was talking about, she was like.
Well, they all were. He was super duper charming. They talked about how he just when you were talking to him, he was really super focused on you. He was pretty affectionate and touchy. And in those times, you wouldn't really do that. Guys, it wasn't really proper to be kind of reach out and touching a girl's arm or something while you're talking to them. But they felt so at ease with him. It was just really, really flattering.
Yeah.
So these women would just be so flattered this guy liked them.
That's so fucking scary.
It's terrifying.
When they talk about psychopaths being perfect at mimicking human behavior.
Yeah.
Is that really what? Because the image that conjures is of literally just a shapeless, amorphous mass that takes on the physical and emotional characteristics of a human, but doesn't really have them.
Yeah.
It really suggests that is a monster.
Right.
Without that is being deceptive, which is so fucked up and you can't wrap your mind around it. But I've also heard that most people that have psychopathic tendencies are nonviolent, are so I don't know what to make of it, because in a weird way I don't want to pigeonhole people just because they are psychopaths.
Yeah,
which
I don't think
psychopath is
necessarily.
synonymous. I feel in our in the in our just common parlance with maniac.
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily is always a maniac. But I mean, it's a psychopath is somebody who lacks empathy.
Right.
They're just really I guess they're just narcissistic. I don't know if those are two totally separate things or they can overlap or whatever, but they don't really care about your experience that much, or if they do, it's really only in service of them.
Right.
So that doesn't necessarily always lead to violence or whatever. That could just be a dick.
Well, there's that whole thing about.
And I wonder if there are phases of your life where you could be psychopathic and then kind of grow up.
Interesting. Maybe.
Sociopathic, and then you kind of
That's
have
kind of
some perspective and kind of work through it and realize that you were being that way, and sort of you can grow up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. That might be right.
I think it could be. I don't know that it's a necessary.
You are either a psychopath or you're not.
Or maybe you can be what word am I looking for? Almost in remission, or a lapsed psychopath. Maybe if that is something that you have forever, maybe it's not, you learn to adapt with it or something and not always act that way.
Interesting.
Or feel that way. I don't know.
But here's the thing.
I literally don't know.
If I told you, if I was I've been in therapy, they say that I've got psychopathic tendencies. Does that concern you?
Yes, of course it concerns me.
Does it but you know what I mean? Do you view me differently?
Well, I'd be very surprised, because if you're talking about you specifically, that doesn't sound right to me. It doesn't ring true. I'm sure.
I'm telling you, it's true. They said that about me, and every time I've ever laughed, you've seen me cry before.
Yeah.
Would you go back through those moments and be like, so he was?
Of course I would.
Very accurately pretending to do those things.
Yes, of course I would. Yeah.
I mean,
there
how
are some
fucked
people
up
who
would
I
that be?
wouldn't be that surprised to hear that about.
Yeah.
But you in particular,
yeah, me.
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound right.
What if I'm really good at it?
Well, that's really fucked up, Will.
But people do that. Like people
I know.
People
I know.
do get really good at it.
I know.
I'll tell you this. This might be a controversial statement.
Uh-oh.
I think that HH Holmes wasn't great at it.
No, I don't think he was.
At least from what we've heard so far. It sounds like he said a lot of scary shit and
Yes.
told a lot of dumb lies.
I agree.
Where it's like, wow, people should have just compared notes on this guy and been like, oh, he's a crazy person. Okay.
Yeah, like I think if any of these girls compared notes, they'd be like, oh, he's just an asshole.
Oh, he's a liar and
he's
a frightening person.
He's playing us, basically. No, like he would. Yeah, he wasn't that great at it, or maybe he was. Maybe he was good at.
Maybe he gets better as the book goes on.
I don't know how much you hide psychopathic tendencies or because I think psychopathic. They're
it
supposed to be
seems
the
like
same
he knew
thing.
that he should hide. You know what I mean?
Well, no,
We're
that's
looking
not
at
what I'm
parts
saying.
of his house. One's called the
Yeah.
asphyxiation chamber, no light with gas connections. One's just
Totally.
called the death shaft. He knew that he had to hide these things because he couldn't just get people in here.
Correct, but that's not what I was getting at.
Okay.
Like, in the same way that I was talking about before, how you could be a sociopath but not necessarily a monster dick.
Yeah.
Or you could grow out of it eventually or whatever. I am separating his sociopathy from his murderous tendencies. I think he knew he was supposed to hide his murderous tendencies.
Okay.
And was still terrible at it.
Yeah.
I don't know. So maybe he was like, I don't know. It sounds like if we're separating the two, let's go with that theory.
Yeah.
Then perhaps he was good at being just a sociopath who can play people, not so good at being a murderer undercover. Because
okay.
remember he like tried to pay one of the workers to drop a brick on his brother-in-law's head?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep. Like,
bit of a dead giveaway.
okay, that's no.
Dead giveaway, Will?
Yeah, dead giveaway. Well, he also, this is the one that stuck out to me because it was one, so bumbling and dumb, and two, so scary that I would just be frozen on the spot if I ever heard this. So he kept talking people out of shit.
Yeah.
He just,
What do you mean?
like, I mean, like what we were saying about credit before, he would just like,
Oh, yeah.
he just buys something on credit, and then when they would come to collect the bill, he would just be like, oh, yes, well, of course, wouldn't we all like to get paid? And then the people that were coming to fucking get paid would eventually leave like smiling and being like, he's a good guy.
He's a mensch.
I didn't get paid, but what a good guy.
Yeah.
But he also, it sounds like, would occasionally just talk like people into giving him their money. Mm-hmm. So on one occasion, he was talking to a woman, and he had convinced her to give him all of her money, or like, you know, a huge chunk of her money. And so she was like, yeah, like, I imagine it's one of those things where it's just like, I feel like I have been sitting here for 4 seconds, but all of a sudden I'm like giving you money. How the fuck is this happening to me?
Yeah.
And so she's giving him money and feeling weird about it, but he's like, no, it's fine because you give this to me. Mm-hmm. I'll invest it. I'll give you this back, or, you know, whatever his sales
He had
pitch
some
was.
crafty schemes.
He was really fucking crafty.
Yeah.
But then she started getting nervous, and he at one point went, don't be afraid of me.
Yeah.
And the woman reportedly was terrified.
Of course.
She was like,
Of course.
he
If
was being
somebody-
charming all day, and then the one sentence,
Yeah.
don't be scared of me.
Like, I wasn't.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Like, that feels
Now
like...
I am. I felt like, yeah, I was uneasy, but now you've confirmed
Yes.
that my uneasiness is something that I should pay attention to and get the fuck out of here.
Yes. And, like, I wonder if, for him, like, if he lacked empathy, if he lacked emotion, in that moment, was he like, this is a technique that I've got? Or in that moment, was he like, people are so dumb. I'm getting away with so much stuff. These people are fucking cows. I wonder if I can just go like, don't be afraid of me.
Sometimes, because he did.
You
like
don't have to be
testing
scared
people.
of me.
Mhm,
And treat it
see-
like hypnosis almost. Like just being like, don't be scared of me.
Or pushing the boundaries and being
Yeah.
like, well, this is a creepy thing to say. Let's see if she even responds to it.
Yeah, like I
Because
kind
he
of
just seems like he was just so like naked about it
Yeah.
in some ways, you know?
like that is such a blunt, odd thing
Yeah.
that it really makes me think that it's not part of his like common sales pitch. It was literally him
Yeah.
trying something.
I think it may have been because he
Don't
seems
be
like the
afraid
kind
of
of guy
me.
who like, yeah, could talk you in or out of anything.
Yeah.
Like with these women who he was dating, if they had any sort of like misgiving of it or anything, I'm sure he was the kind of guy who like you're like dating or something and like he does something really shitty or you just don't feel good about stuff that's going on with him and you try to talk to him about it and then somehow you end up apologizing and comforting
Yeah.
them.
Yep. Absolutely.
So
I think you're probably right about
yeah.
that. But like,
and then you're like, how did this end up happening? That I thought you were cheating on me, and now I'm telling you what a great guy you are,
Yeah.
and like making you feel better about yourself
I'm a
because
piece of shit.
Yeah, that.
I'm
Oh.
just a fuck up. Marge, Bart.
like that kind of thing.
Eat my shorts.
What? Where did this come from?
I felt like the voice I was doing sounded like Homer
I
Simpson.
didn't think it sounded like him at all.
No?
No.
Ice cream.
That sounds like Homer Simpson, what you were doing.
You thought that sounded like Homer Simpson? It's on
Yeah.
the record.
In context.
All right, fair enough. I think it sounds
so.
like him too. So I also was thinking that, like, I don't understand why if he's saying shit like,
yeah, right. So that anyway was my point. He could be that slick to be that kind of dude. So then why would he also just be like, don't be afraid of me?
Right.
Like I think he gets off on freaking her out a little bit.
I think so too, but we're also
and seeing what happens.
We're also viewing it through, like, I like it when things are scary,
Mm-hmm.
and this book actually unnerved me.
It's pretty scary.
It's very scary. I think that we may also be viewing it as him having gone like they're talking. He's like, yeah, give me $300 and you'll get
True.
20% back.
I know.
Don't be afraid. Like, he could have said it like that. Like,
Right.
Don't be afraid of me. Which is still weird, but
It's so weird, but I don't think her reaction would have been scared if
My-
that was the case.
my imagination tells me though that it was like, yeah, no, give me like $300 and I'll give you like $350 back, and don't be afraid of me.
Yeah.
That, like, he just
Well,
got like
also her
real straight about it.
I think
Like,
her reaction tells you that, because if he
unnerving.
had been like, "Don't be afraid of me," she might be like, oh, "Okay."
I feel like
That
that's
wouldn't
weird too, though.
It's weird, but it wouldn't garner her saying, "I was terrified."
Don't be afraid of me. Like, that's so fucking weird.
It's so scary. You know what else was really scary? That I would have absolutely shit my pants.
God.
When it was his wife who he sent away to live with her mother or whatever, while he basically like lived in the murder house and constructed it and everything.
Yeah.
And then he needed more money, and he knew that her wealthy uncle was coming to visit, so he went to go see her, which he rarely did.
Yeah.
And talked to the uncle and get him to kind of like give him a loan or something. And was like, the uncle, I guess, agreed, and he was like, "You should come see the house. You should come see, or the hotel or whatever." And like, we know that that's like bad or whatever, but even so, it said the
It's
uncle
the equivalent
never really
of Sweeney Todd being like, I think you need a haircut.
How about a shave?
Yeah. that's it.
And there was a what's it called, a barber shop.
How about a shave? He does like a little twitch.
I was about to say, good twitch.
How
By the way,
about a shave?
that was a little Magister Blackwell.
How about a shave?
By the way, okay, you know how Johnny Depp is a sex symbol?
Sure.
Okay, well, that's my point. Okay. All right, I got it for a while. I got it. I wasn't really with everybody.
Yeah.
He's a little bit too styled for me, but I understand. Is he now, like, do women now,
I don't think so.
like,
No.
he looks nuts.
I'll tell you this. I remember 10 years ago, people used to talk about Brad Pitt and Johnny Depp all the time.
Yes, totally.
I feel like they just don't anymore.
Well, I feel like that might be Brad Pitt is still famously handsome. I feel like
He's
still
famously
works.
handsome,
I
but
think
now
he's
it's a
less in the-
cartoon.
But I also think he's less in the public eye. He doesn't make as many movies and stuff like that
That's
like
true.
he used to, and he
Yeah.
also doesn't as many hunky movies.
I make
He's-
hunky movies.
He's making a lot of like deliberately hunky movies.
I don't know, guys. I'm just looking for like a real hunky piece right now.
Because he'd be like riding a horse with like long hair or whatever.
Looking for a. I think I want a hunkier
That's
piece.
something William
right
and I've been
now.
doing a lot lately.
Yeah. Huh.
That's somebody just being pretentious and like. Will and I are.
Not quite hunky enough.
You might want to refer to the YouTube. We're just kind of like twiddling our fingers together a little bit and kind of being like
Lazily,
above
like
it a little bit. Yeah,
playing with your own
thinking.
fingers. Looking for more of a period piece. Of course, the hunk aspect I have to think of.
I love it.
Breathing through your nose.
It's so good.
Yeah, that could be. Like, he just
Yeah.
hasn't really been around.
Yeah, not really.
But yeah, Johnny Depp, I don't think so. Especially because,
Johnny Depp looks markedly unattractive. to
well, he's
me
coming
now.
up on his third straight Kevin Smith film in a row that he's doing.
Well, that's not.
I don't think he's doing great.
His wife is unbelievably hot. That's.
Well, but that's fine. Like, they've been married for a long time.
No,
right?
no, no.
Oh, no?
No, he never, the woman you're thinking of, I'm sure, Vanessa Paradis or Paradis. I don't know if she's French. Well, it's like paradise without an E, and she's
No,
French. I don't know.
I'm just laughing because I've never heard that name before. It's definitely not who I was thinking of.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea who that is.
Well, that was the one he was with for like 13 years and had kids with.
Who's the mother of Lily Rose Depp?
Vanessa
Paradiso? Okay.
Yeah. So they were together for a super long time, but never. Wait, no, I don't think they ever got married. And then, so they broke up because he had an affair with this hot young actress, and now he's married to her.
Oh.
And it I don't know.
Yeah.
Just as far as
Well, I mean, I've enjoyed a lot of his movies.
I don't dislike Johnny Depp, but he was at some award show.
His daughter is evidently an up and comer.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yep.
But no, just visually and the fact that people of my generation, I think, and probably older,
Yeah.
he was Johnny Depp is so hot, but also kind of weird hot or
John
whatever.
Depp, yeah.
The Jean Depp.
Yeah.
And I look at him now and I'm like, do people still want to fuck Johnny Depp really bad? Because he's wearing
Oh, there are definitely some.
He's wearing 3 vests.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's got vests to spare. What his bedroom floor looks like. Vests
Vests
all over
everywhere. It's a
the place.
mess.
Scarves hanging from every surface.
But that is, not that it's everything, but
You know what he definitely has?
What?
Scarf over a lamp.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To set a mood, I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I remember doing that. Mom told me not to do it because I would set the scarf on fire.
Set a fire, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw
Just good advice.
I saw a meme today. That's stupid, but it was a kid sitting in front of a TV and his mom going "Don't sit too close to the TV. You're gonna burn your eyes out." And the next picture is a guy with a VR headset on, "Hey, yay!" Yeah, that's weird. How come no one's talking about this?
Yeah, that is strange.
Putting a giant screen about 2 inches from your eyeballs.
What is a VR headset? Is
and
that
wearing
Google
it as a
Glass?
hat?
Yeah.
yeah, exactly like that.
That's really funny.
Really strange.
Anyway, because we were doing How About a Shave? That's why we were talking about
How About a
Jean
Shave?
Depp. Yeah, shave. I'm good at it.
I assume that Sweeney Todd is in
William, I'm
part
good
based
at
on
it.
an HH Holmes type thing. You're really good at it, Chris. That's more Drew Barrymore.
I know. I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And also just kind of how I talk. I do a little bit of
Right.
this.
I think that Sweeney Todd is a story,
Yeah.
but I wonder when it was written and if it has any basis in HH Holmes. Because he installed a trapdoor under his chair
Yeah. Let me take a look real quick.
to slide bodies through.
Yeah.
And that's what H.H. Holmes did.
Yeah.
H.H. Holmes installed chutes and ladders all over his murder castle.
Yeah, I mentioned it in the summary, but something that I didn't know that for some reason it just weirds me out. It's such a small detail, but I either didn't pick up on it from the book or they didn't mention it. In the Stuff You Missed in History Class podcast, they said that they were wooden greased chutes.
Ugh.
So you want things to it's obviously not
Really
for anything.
slip, slide fast.
Yeah. All right, let me see. Sweeney Todd, H.H.
Well, also one of the things that I liked, and this is such a subtle thing, but before when I was talking about how he had a wife that was head over heels about him and shit,
Yeah.
it's because I remember a scene in the book where she's describing how beautiful the house that he built is.
Yeah.
And then she invites somebody over to look at it, and they were like, "This place is fucked up." She definitely just had blinders on about everything, or viewed everything through rose-colored glasses.
Who did?
Whoever, his wife.
Yeah,
Definitely
yeah.
thought the place was beautiful and
Yeah.
well thought out. But she brought someone in who, upon seeing it for 5 seconds, they were like, "This is fucked up."
Oh, really?
Yeah. They were like, there are lanterns placed randomly, at random
Did they
intervals.
say that in the first half of the book?
Yeah. Lanterns at random intervals.
Yeah.
In hallways. If you're walking through a hotel,
Yeah.
and there are lanterns on the walls, they're probably spaced approximately the same.
Right.
So it looks like a repeating pattern and shit.
What was the purpose for that?
I don't know. I'm wondering, did he want specifically to disorient? Did he have some understanding innately of I've heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, that there are torture tactics where if I want to unhinge your mind, I'll
Probably be all too easy.
I don't know.
Maybe not.
I would put you in a room that has no right angles.
I don't love the sound of that. I gotta tell you.
And then you just stay in there for a couple of days, and by the end of it, you'll be...
I will have gone mad.
I guess not entirely. I don't know how these things work, because I've also heard that 15 minutes of solitary confinement can cause mental instability. So, but that seems so little.
15 minutes seems very little.
Doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
I think I'd be fine.
Yeah, I do. I definitely would be.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Solitary confinement, And that's what I call my early 20s.
Oh my God. Good one.
But like, yeah, like I wonder if, I don't think there were studies and shit about this stuff. I don't think that our military or anything was doing this like psychological warfare shit yet.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he on some level was like, well, these are things that would disturb the mind.
Maybe. Because he did like to experiment, obviously. He liked to fuck around with the bodies and do medical experiments on them.
Yep.
I do think he liked to fuck with people like we were talking about with the whole like, even, as simple as don't be afraid of me thing. Or they also talked about, wait, real quick, the reason I was talking about the woman's uncle was because one of the things that freaked me out was that the uncle went with him to the hotel.
Right, yeah.
And could tell, just was uneasy, like didn't like the guy. And he was like, oh, let me show you the roof. And he was like, no, thank you.
No.
And he was like, no, you should really see it. The views are magnificent. And he was like, no, I'd really rather not. And he's like, no, you really should come see the roof. And he was like, no. Thank you. And then they parted ways for the night. The guy went to bed and he woke up in the middle of the night like a movie or something because the door handle was like jiggling and shit. And so he was trying to open it and then they gave up and went away. But fuck that. Like you have a weird sense about somebody. Yep. Your mind probably doesn't jump to that they're a murderer, but you're just like, there's something about this guy that makes me uneasy. I don't trust him. And then in the middle of the night, your door is going nuts.
Fuck that. Some shit straight out of Illuminati.
And then, it is. And somebody wanted to come in. It was the middle of the night. It wasn't Holmes. It was like his lackey guy.
Yep.
They said something. Yeah.
Jimmy Pretzel.
Jimmy Pretzels. That was the other thing. He had a couple accomplices.
Yeah.
Who he paid because so he would test the workers, like how he asked that worker if he would drop a brick on his brother-in-law's head.
Yep.
He did that with a couple of the workers, and if they said yes to something, then he would pay them to do things for him or whatever.
Yeah,
so
it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's very crazy.
It's like a weird psychopath murderer empire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like a murderer mob.
One of the other things that I was intrigued by. Well, all right, so it's kind of like two things in one.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously killed a lady.
Yeah.
And then told everybody that she went away to get married.
Mm-hmm.
And then he started like delivering letters.
That was so elaborate.
It's so fucking, where it's just like, this obviously won't hold up.
Like elaborate and sloppy, because in a lot of ways, I feel like you could be like, oh man, this guy was so smart. He really got away. But then there are things that he did that are just like, what?
That's
like
mind-boggling. Yeah, like
that you're making it more suspicious by doing a thing like that, because there were these really plain wedding invitations that her friends were like, Emmeline would never pick these out.
Yeah, but he's like, no, she picked these out. She gave these to me to give to you.
And why would that
I
ever
saw
be?
her and no one else did, and she's still alive somewhere,
Yeah.
and she gave me these wedding invitations that she definitely gave me because she's definitely alive to definitely give to you from her. And like,
it's like some of your friends don't even like really know or anything.
Yeah.
They're like, who are you?
Yeah.
Why would she?
Why wouldn't she give me this herself?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? And then
So
even
weird.
like, I feel like even the mere fact that like, granted, he owned the hotel and people were around and shit. But when somebody's like, hey, where did Margarine go? And he's like, oh,
That's Butters' girlfriend.
That's Butters when he's dressed like a girl.
Margarine. I've been thinking about South Park a lot this week.
Really? I want to get the South
I've been
Park.
talking about it a lot.
There's a South Park PlayStation game that I hear is really fucking
Oh, really?
good. Yeah.
Sarah's been rewatching it on like something, I don't know what, and she said it's amazing.
Really? Mm-hmm. I watched the most recent season, which is all about PC culture.
Uh-huh.
And it was fucking great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you told me that.
It was like surprisingly impressive and like, remember when South Park, when it first came out, it was kind of like biting and shit, and then all of a sudden it just kept being like,
yeah, like how they talked about David Caruso's career and none of us were saying it, but we all were thinking it.
yeah, and then Carmen started taking beefcake, whatever that was.
Yeah, what was
Beefcake.
What was the deal with that?
I don't know.
Just really bulked him up.
Just took it. I'm not sure. So
he just took it.
But like, I remember that when the show first came out, it was really controversial and shit.
Yeah.
And then I feel like about 15 more years went by where it was just like, oh, you killed Kenny, you bastards,
Yeah.
and like people wearing T-shirts of it, and like 5-year-olds carrying around Kenny dolls. We were just like, boy, this has gone too far.
Inappropriate.
And then it just kept going, and it never stopped. I feel like this last season, what I watched, granted, I had not seen it for years and years and years. I was like, this is kind of like fucked up and biting and
cool
and like kind of controversial and interesting. They're saying something. They're saying something.
Yeah.
They're actually saying something again.
Yeah.
I felt.
That's cool.
Liked it a lot. But so I feel like somebody walked up to HH Holmes and was just like, hey, where's Margarine? Just like, and like, in their mind, he's going to be like, oh, I don't know. I haven't seen her.
Yeah.
But he's like, oh, yeah, Margarine. Yeah, no, she got married. She's got married and moved away.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like,
I guess I should
That's
say,
a huge info dump, Mr. Holmes. Please elaborate. She married a guy.
What?
I don't know him too well. I think his name was Dan Stevenson, and I don't know him very well. He's a plumber. I don't know him very well. He likes fruit. Just like
your
saying,
ring is really clunking.
sorry,
Man.
just like saying shit, like just like diarrhea of the mouth, over explaining in a way
Yeah.
where I'd be like, I think you killed her.
Totally. I guess you could say he was really smart about body disposal, but everything else not so much.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah.
Not great.
But really, pretty masterful on the secret murder and disposal part.
Yes.
That's fucking insane. But then all the other stuff around it, he was not good at.
Especially fucked up is the
Yeah.
fact that doctors at this time needed cadavers.
Yes.
And they would not ask where you got one from if you tried to sell it to them.
So crazy.
They'd just
And
be like, oh, it's a dead body. That's great.
perfect.
I don't need
Yeah.
to know anything more. Here's $15 or whatever fucked up small amount. Like, here's a shekel.
A shekel, a shilling.
Here's a shilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also, so he would do whatever to the bodies and then have somebody come over to clean them and bleach them and
Yep.
articulate them, which is like putting the skeleton together in the perfect way. And like one of the times that the guy, I think he used the same guy a couple of times, he paid to do that, and then he would
Yeah.
pay this, sell the skeleton for much more expensive than he paid to have it cleaned and articulated. The guy said that like the skin was peeled off it like a jackrabbit, and that it started at the face and head, and that he had peeled all the skin off, and he was just like, well, okay, better get to work on this one.
Ugh.
And didn't seem to have any
What a fucked up time.
very fucked up time. And also, one of the times, he shipped a corpse
Yeah.
to the guy to articulate. So
Yep.
he stuffed that woman in a trunk, shipped it to the guy to articulate. I guess that guy shipped the skeleton back, and then he sold it.
Yeah.
So that guy received a corpse in the mail in a trunk.
Yeah. I was just like, all right, there we go.
Yeah.
Um,
Time to work. Also, just on a practical level, that must have fucking stunk.
Sure. Probably
Oh,
did,
that's
yeah.
so gross.
Also,
And just
this
fucked
is
up.
barely over 100 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Like, how
Yeah.
fucked up is that?
Not
Like,
relatively not that long ago.
not that long ago.
So insane.
Yeah. Like our great grandparents were probably alive then. Which, I
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
mean, that sounds like it was a long time ago.
But
Not that long
yeah.
ago. Not that long ago.
I
That's
know.
so fucking weird. It was almost the 1900s
yeah, totally.
when this was happening.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
You
I
would
don't
think
know.
that shit wouldn't be anywhere
You would think
connected
that there'd
to
be
us.
better systems in place in just some way to
Yeah.
either prevent or detect that.
Yeah. I'll also add, we can wrap it up here. I'll also
Okay.
add, though, that it's fucked up that it's like, where's Margarine? Oh, she's gone.
Mm-hmm.
But meanwhile, you might have a doctor's appointment, and in his, like, study or whatever, might be the skeleton of Margarine.
Yes.
Like, the very person that you're worried about
Yes.
might be a couple doors down,
Yeah.
hanging in there.
Yeah.
Like, hiding in plain sight in a weird way, where it's like,
Yes.
oh, where is she? Well, her skeleton
Mm-hmm.
is out in a public setting
Right.
that's just being completely accepted
Right.
by the general populace.
Right.
Like, oh, there's a skeleton right there. She 2 days ago was alive.
Yeah.
Right
And the
there.
other part of this I don't think we mentioned is that he had a pretty perfect system going on in some ways, because he would take out life insurance policies on these women before he killed them.
Oh, right.
So not only would he kill them, but then he would get a ton of money for having done so.
Yeah, fucking crazy.
He took out policies on like everybody, like the women that he dated / married. I'm trying to think who else. One of the guys who worked in his shop, whose wife he ended up stealing and not marrying but killing.
Yep.
That guy, one of the schemes he did that was like so seamless and seemed so like cut and dry if you trusted this person, which a lot of people did, was that he was paying this guy $12 I don't know, month or whatever to work
Yeah,
in
I
his
don't know.
pharmacy. He told the guy, why don't you buy the pharmacy from me? What I'll do is, and I you know, as I say this, I hope I remember like how this scheme even worked, but he said, what I'll do is you won't notice any difference in price. I'm going to increase your pay to $18 a month or whatever it was. You'll still only see the 12 because I'm going to keep the 6 of it. And that will go toward a deposit on you buying this pharmacy eventually, or toward
Yeah.
your life insurance policy or something. And I still don't remember what it was, but whatever it was, the guy doing it was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
This is perfect.
Wow,
like,
thank you.
There's no difference in my income, and yet, like, you're building up something that's going to be really good for me, like the best employer ever or something. And
You're doing me a real favor here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not even scared.
No. I'm not scared of you.
I'm not even frightened of you. Real freak show.
Mm-hmm.
He also, with that guy Jimmy Pretzels,
Yeah.
who became like one of his longtime conspirators and shit. They, when they first met, talked a lot about how to fake someone's death to because he did the obvious, what you were just saying, like,
Yeah.
I'll take out a life insurance policy on you, kill you, and collect.
Yeah.
He and Jimmy Pretzels used to talk about, we take out a life insurance policy.
Margarine and Jimmy Pretzels.
We take out a life insurance policy, fake our death.
Yeah.
We're still alive. We cash out. And so, like, I knowing a little bit of the story already, I know that comes back into play.
Yeah.
That's something that
I
they
don't
used to
remember.
talk about when they first met. Becomes a big deal of HH
okay.
Holmes' life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Real fucked up.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, I mean, let's just keep going from
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
I will say,
Finish the book. I'm
Yeah.
going to listen to the second part of that How Stuff Works. That is a podcast.
things you
Stuff you didn't learn in history class.
Okay.
So I'll have
I'll listen
more
to it too.
updates.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really good.
Cool.
So yeah, go ahead and finish the book.
Awesome. And I think that this is a pretty successful first attempt at reading a nonfiction book. Then,
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
This is fucking great. Like, I would do this
love
again.
it. I mean, like I said, I don't like the World's Fair parts, but overall, I'm
Well, there are
very much enjoying the book.
other books of this kind that don't have that. Like,
Yeah, totally.
the Ted Bundy book, The Stranger Beside Me, isn't also about
I will
how,
absolutely read that book.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not also about how we built a freeway.
Have you ever
know?
read that before?
Oh, yeah.
Oh boy.
I'll read it again.
Me too.
I would do that. I would goddamn do that.
Me too. I'm in.
Yeah, this has been great.
Yeah.
So everybody, finish up the book for next time. We're going to talk about it in 2 weeks. We're going
Yep.
to end The Devil in the White City. We're going to talk about everything about H.H. Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
I've also been doing a little research about pop culture references to H.H. Holmes.
Oh, cool.
So maybe we can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Nothing too interesting.
About to say what? American Horror Story.
American Horror Story.
Is that pretty much it?
That's pretty much all I got.
Okay, very good.
I think maybe Swamp Thing, which I would still like to read. That's why I thought that his
Really?
house was in Louisiana.
Oh.
In one of the Swamp Thing books, he's in Louisiana and he's outside of a giant like plantation mansion that is designed to have doors that open up to brick walls
Yeah.
and doors that lead nowhere and chutes that so like I thought that was not them making a reference to H.H. Holmes,
Yeah.
but that Swamp Thing was literally outside H.H. Holmes' castle,
Oh.
which is in
interesting.
Louisiana. So I
Yeah.
guess there's something about that I'm fucking up, obviously. I mean, it wasn't there. It maybe is just a reference.
Yeah.
I think there's more to it than what I just said, though. However, I would still like to read those books. There's a lot of
totally.
awesome horror shit in there.
Yeah, I would like to read them too.
Sweet. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
cool.
So
That list's going.
that's 2 weeks on Book Club Schmook Club. Next week on Book Club Schmook Club, we're going to be on Patreon. Patreon.com/talkbomb.
And I figured unless there is a lot going on in our lives otherwise, I will actually talk about my trip to New Orleans.
Ooh, sure.
Instead of just all the toilets I encountered, which is what we talked about on last week's episode, which was fantastic.
Oh, it was fantastic. Last week's, holy shit.
so
Week's
good.
Last week's Patreon bonus show is maybe one of the best Book Club Schmook Clubs episodes
agree.
we've ever done.
I agree.
It was so much fucking fun to record, and it's goddamn hilarious.
Yep.
If you have not gotten that show, go download it now. Go to Patreon, become a patron, or on TalkBomb, you can get the episode from me if you send us,
Yeah.
what did I say, 50 cents? Some bullshit like that. If you donate 50 cents to us, I'll send you the episode.
Oh, okay. I don't even
In
know.
the individual show notes, I have like instructions on like, if you don't
Yeah.
want to be a patron, but you do want this show,
Yeah.
do this.
Okay.
So
or
yeah.
if you share it with somebody, or if you share the podcast with somebody, we'll send you the show.
That too. Tag
Yeah.
us in the post so that I know you did it, obviously. But
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be doing that next week. Working on secret shit for other things in the future. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell your friends.
And talk to us on Twitter.
I'm at Will Rogers 2000.
I'm at Chrissy Pajamas.
And thank you guys so much for listening. Until next time,
Yay.
good talk, gang.
Meeting adjourned.
Ha ha!
Bye.
Bingo. Bango.
Bongo?